the meeting to order,
Okay.
and let's have a roll call.
Agnes Warnarski,
Present.
Dana Syvertson,
Here.
Pete Hahn,
Here.
John Kamish,
Here.
Ed Madden,
Here.
Seth Marcus.
Here.
I'm Jill Moskel. All commissioners are present. We have a quorum, and to date we have one guest, and that's Wendy Dewar. And Peter Falcone from the city is unable to attend our meeting tonight.
Fine. Agnes.
So, well, I don't know, should we move on then?
Well, we wanted to, we thought we were going to see a lot more people from Tully Park today, and the plan was to move that whole discussion to the front of the meeting so that we, in the interest of time and not having them waste all evening, we thought we'd move them up. We can certainly talk to Wendy right now, and then move on with the rest of the meeting. Wendy, would that work for you? Okay.
Or do you want to wait to see if other people come?
You're on mute, Wendy. There you go.
I thought that Mary Ellen would be joining and a couple other people. However, I don't see them.
Why don't we progress and maybe wait 10 or 15 minutes and then get into it, huh?
Yep.
That's fine.
That
Okay.
sounds good.
Let's go on then.
I think if we're gonna be talking about Tully Park, we need to add it to the agenda in the very beginning, correct? So I'd like to make a motion to add Tully Park to the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, then, let's talk about our approval of the minutes of the board meeting of May 13th.
I will motion to have those incredible notes that Jill always prepares, that are so excellent, without corrections,
Thank you.
be approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, old business, volunteer work days. Once again, we've seen an incredible turnout, including over Memorial Day weekend. We had 23 volunteers. So we're over 20, very often over 30 volunteers each work day. It's been incredible. This Sunday, we're going to be at Hillcrest Lake, and we're going to be planting a lot of plants. I realize that we're in a drought right now. It's very, very significant drought, actually. But we do have, watering tank, and the plants really kind of need to go in the ground at some point. So that's the plan. The interns have prepared the area, and so that's our Sunday work day.
And where will we be working at Hillcrest Lake? The east corner?
Yeah, this will be up in the very north finger, those areas that John and his friends actually cleared out last fall. And then we finished that off last week, and I have to stop and give a shout out to Mark Roscoe over at Public Works for picking up all that debris and chipping it for us. Thank you, Mark. He also assisted in getting that order rushed through for additional bags of soil that was delivered at 5:52 this morning. Thank you, Mark. You're
that was really great.
Gentleman and scholar.
So that's where we'll be planting, and it has some nice shady areas and some sunny areas, and I hope between 1,000 and 1,500 plants during the workday.
Gonna need a lot of watering next week, huh?
Yeah, we were just talking about that before the meeting. It's time to put the tank in the van and get the turbo ring going. I would say some of those could even maybe need twice a day because it's so dry.
But at the same time, they could also be working on the paths, and the areas that were seeded will need to be mowed about 4 to 6 inches really soon as well, and kept an eye on and weeding. And then they can also create new areas for planting. So one person will be watering, and the other person can be creating those new areas.
But yeah, and a lot of that is roll over to the work that'll be done this Sunday. So. Announcements going out this evening, announcing that the work day's over there. So we anticipate another big turnout, and we move forward with Pollinator Park.
Any questions, comments? No? Okay. Should we give a few minutes, move on then? Arlington Countryside Storm Sewer System Project.
Yeah, I think I can wrap that up. A big shout out here to Jill. Jill went with me when we surveyed the countryside and took an inventory of the culverts, vacant properties, houses, looking at potential areas that could serve as detention facilities. We passed, as you all know, we passed on our concerns to Joe Wade, who has told us now that he's passed those on to the engineer, and that the engineer is preparing yet another public meeting where those concerns will be addressed in that meeting. So there's no date for that meeting. I believe the engineer is driving the date for that. So until that happens, we'll just wait and see. So that's the latest and the greatest there. Any comments, questions?
That's an important issue. So when that meeting does pop up, if somebody notices when it happens, please shout that out to everybody so we can attend that, and we might want to inform some neighbors downstream of the project of what's going on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I plan to attend Monday's city council meeting, and perhaps they don't have their agenda posted yet, but perhaps it will be announced then. I'll keep you informed.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Nature Speaks, and moving on. The public library opened. We have the Juneteenth plant giveaway date coming up, and Jill is going to assist with that as well. Anybody who's got the time on that Saturday morning and wants to come out and help, that'd be terrific. We'll have canopies we're going to set up in the parking lot, and again, it's an exchange email addresses for a 6-pack of plants. Public Works. The Nature Speaks program we have coming up in June, I believe it's the 24th, Dr. Stanley Temple. Stanley just had both knees replaced, so he's a bit under the weather, but he says he's totally up 100% for the talk. He's an incredible speaker and just a really terrific guy. So word will start reappearing again as we move forward from this point on. And then we have Allison Sacerdote-Villette is going to be giving her Buckthorn presentation in September. So that's about it for Nature Speaks at this point.
Moment, Dana, if you could please forward me information for a press release so I can.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, absolutely.
So we have the bird walks, May 15th, and the 29th was canceled, and then because it was supposed to be raining, which it didn't, but then we had one the following week, and they were both successful, very good turnout. You want to say anything about the bird walks?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting this year. It's different because, there was no water in the slough. So the first bird walk, we had sort of an influx of shoreline birds who were migrating through, and that made for interesting viewing. This time,
I've never seen so many shoreline birds. I don't think there's like 40 of them out there.
Yeah. This time around, what we saw was at least 4 female wood ducks and their broods. I mean, there are a lot of wood ducks, so that's a real great success story. Other than that, it was pretty low key, but a lot of fun on Saturday. The fall bird walks might be problematic because Mary Lou is contemplating a trip to Spain, a birding trip. So she may be out when those bird walks would normally occur. She's working with talking to Cindy, who's filled in for them before when they were both out last year. So Cindy's a terrific replacement, and ultimately that's what we do. So that's all in flux and in the works. We should know about that very soon. You're muted, Seth.
Is there a notice going out about the plant giveaway and the Juneteenth and all that?
Well, it's in the Prospect Heights June newsletter, but I guess we could send something specifically to our volunteers, couldn't we?
Well, I mean, I guess what's the point? Because they're already subscribed. I mean, the people in our database are already subscribed, and this was a library initiative, and so the library has publicized it. I think that's probably sufficient. And we're looking for new addresses, not giving away plants to people who are already subscribers. So.
Although people would like to get plants that are already subscribers.
And they won't be denied if they come.
And we will always, as usual, always have a milkweed available.
Okay, any other questions about that?
No.
All right, update on the boardwalk project. It's coming around to mid-June, so we could literally hear about that grant anytime from now to mid-July. So
Before our next meeting, probably we'll have an answer.
that would be my guess.
Can you just reiterate how much the grant is for?
I can't off the top of my head.
I didn't mean to stump you.
I believe we're the total match was like 12,000, 6,000 from us collectively, and 6,000 from ComEd. So that's what my memory says, but my memory's faulty. So I'll get back to you and send everybody an email about what the grant is. Okay.
And we have talked to Felix, and he was really busy with school and exams and everything else, so he is back on track for speaking about his Eagle Scout project and getting it all rolling over the summer. So.
Okay.
Now that'll be separate from volunteer work days, is that correct?
It might land on a volunteer work day, depending on how we schedule that. But definitely volunteers will be involved. It might actually be better to have it scheduled on a volunteer work day so we have more people all in one day doing everything.
And it could also be set up as a special day like Sam's was, where we had.
Well, that's what I remember. There were like 50 scouts there. If you
Yeah.
throw in another 25 volunteers, that's a pretty big group.
Right?
Yeah, it was.
It could be spread out over 2 weekends, a Saturday, or the whole weekend, Saturday, Sunday. So that's all to be determined, really.
Big job.
Big job, yeah. A lot of prep for that.
Certainly is.
Happens, so. But it's exciting, because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to do the Pollinator Park update?
Well, I think we sort of did, but I don't know.
I think everybody knows that Pollinator Park needs to be finished this year, and the wrap-up expose that goes with it needs to be submitted to ComEd, so it's crunch time.
By the end of December.
By the end of December. So I'll be, I still have that list of references for the kind of signage that residents were interested in seeing over there. So at some point I'll start working on signage and have stuff for everybody to look at and approval. If anybody's got any ideas on signage,
Or if you want.
chime in, or if something specifically you want to see or you want to participate in, just let me know.
Yeah, maybe someone can work on it with Dana.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a little busy at work, so any help is appreciated with that.
Are we gonna have any funds left over for more coconut rolls and shoreline restoration?
No, not at all. I would think that as this shoreline restoration progresses over the course of the summer, we could get together with Mark Roscoe and Joe Wade and look at the benefits of that, and then try to find some money to continue that. Certainly that far north end needs that immediately. There's about 2 feet of land left before the water touches the road.
Yeah, there ain't much left.
Yeah, and we were looking with the interns, actually, we were looking at a section that I believe was planted by the garden club maybe like 10 or 15 years ago with some native grasses over there. You could really see the difference. I mean, you could see it within 2 feet Where the grasses are growing, there's about 2 feet less of erosion versus where it just goes up to turf. And it's very pronounced. It's like a really good area to take
Example.
pictures, an example. And it's the same exact space too. So it's not like, there's more water flowing over there. There's no culvert right there. It's literally the vegetation on the shoreline that's making the difference. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, any further questions on that? All right, moving on to District 214 micro internship. We completed the last of the 2 interns on their micro internship. They were both really good.
Yeah, really great.
One of the girls, Abby, has turned out to become sort of a regular volunteer. And she's really, really a workhorse. Seth knows that. He's watched her in action. But she's shown great promise and has really taken it to heart. The district did reach out to us about 3 days ago and asked if we would be interested in taking on 2 more interns for the summer in the a micro intern program, and
30 hours.
we declined because the other interns are already well into their program, and to catch them up is just impossible. So we said, come back in the fall, we'd welcome you with open arms, but for right now, we don't want to upset the apple cart, so. That's it, and Agnes will give you an update on the summer interns.
So the summer interns have been working really, really hard. They're great. They're a great team. They are currently working on reed canary, all the invasives. They're doing trail maintenance everywhere. I've been sending you guys the schedule, which changes by the end of the week depending on the weather. So like it changed yesterday and today, but I don't update everybody because I just send the list to Mark Roscoe to update him. But if you want, I can also send you the emails of, change of plans and everything. And it's not completely strict, they can take a half an hour earlier or later to do certain projects, certain things that they need to catch up on. But so far, so good. They're really great. They're doing really hard work. They're super smart. We had our first quiz on Wednesday, and they did very well. And Seth has been joining us too for the.
How did Seth do on the quiz?
he was the best, of course.
I have to say, Seth was the best. Seth was the best, but he's had a little practice, and he's really interested.
He's a regular, that's for
He's
sure.
a regular, yeah. It's been a lot of fun. We have fun. They work really,
Yeah,
really
they have a really
hard.
good chemistry together after everything is said and done, so it's encouraging to see.
It's very good. It's a great summer. I look forward to it every morning, and it's a lot of fun, and we learn a lot of stuff together. So.
Also like to take an opportunity while we're on the business of summer work. Peter has
Peter.
not been at regular work days because of his job, but every opportunity Peter gets, he's out there with a backpack at the Remnant Prairie, spraying vetch.
Yeah, Comet Prairie, everywhere. We just get updates, and
It's absolutely amazing.
How he's done 2.5 hours here and 3 hours there, and gotten all the vetch and all of the Canada thistle, and it's just absolutely amazing work.
So
Especially
thank you,
since,
Peter.
Oh, thank you. Especially since getting it early on, and that's where Peter came in. Even before the intern started, he was out there for hours and hours and
Right
hours.
after Comet just licked it clean, he was there. So it's a really good first foot forward.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Bravo.
All right, so moving on to new business, let's go ahead and move Tully Park back up to the top here. And Jill, you want to take over?
Certainly. I see that we have Wendy Dewar, Mary Ellen Siemens, and Dee Monroe from the Tully Park, Friends of Tully Park neighborhood. Wendy, you're muted, but would you like to start? We're interested to hear what you have to say.
You're
Okay.
muted.
Okay.
We've been trying to marshal our forces here. We developed an email that went out to the Friends of Tully Park, as well as other, hopefully to the Garden Club, and other groups. I have a tennis group in Prospect Heights and a Mahjong group, and So we've tried to get the word out. We developed a list of questions. We're asking people to please attend the park board meeting on June 22nd.
Wendy, for people who might not, who might be tuning in or something or don't know, can you just state what the issue is?
The problem? Yeah, yes. The issue is, the park board has, or the director of the park board, or director of parks has recommended that they accept a proposed donation from the Bridge Church of a modular 5-on-5 soccer field. This would be placed somewhere in Tully Park. It is 50 feet by 80 feet. It has sidewalls. It has lights. It is basically an impervious surface with it's got a crash mat underneath. It's got a sand, some kind of a sand finish with artificial turf on top. And then somehow there's drainage tiles. I can't quite picture that, but that's the description of it. The Bridge Church is selling advertising in order to fundraise for this. They are advertising that there would be as many as 160 to 300 people per day in the park seeing the advertising that is on this field. And it could be used by their target audience is the kids that are across the street in the Boxwood Apartments, which is that's an admirable idea. However, our feeling is that modular field will not help Tully Park at all. It is too big. It's going to cause many drainage problems. The letter from the park director to the board asking them to approve it also goes on to say that they would like to be placing bleachers and garbage cans and restrooms and bike racks around this modular unit, but yet there will be plenty of open space left for us to use. Mary Ellen's husband has created a little Google Earth picture for us that does demonstrate, we plan to bring to the meeting, it demonstrates there will not be plenty of room left. But we've outlined numerous concerns: drainage, flooding, parking. There's just quite a few issues. So we outlined all these things. We sent this information out asking people to come to the meeting, express their concerns. Right now, we do not know if this is a done deal or it's not a done deal. I don't know if you guys know that or not.
No.
We have done a FOIA request. We did a FOIA request today asking for all correspondence between the Bridge Church and the Park District. We also asked, they did a master plan, 2017, 2018, and they had action items. And one of their action items was to create a master plan for Tully Park. It's not on their website. We asked for that in the FOIA plan to get the master plan. So that's about where we stand. I think, it goes beyond the natural resource issue of now we cannot do, our ultimate plan was to fully naturalize that park, which would greatly help with their drainage and things. It goes beyond that. It goes to a lack of communication with the residents, putting something in that area that we don't know any residents that want that. The way the park is used now, we've increased the usage of that park quite a bit. People come to look at the flowers and the grasses that have been planted. There's dogs there pretty much every day running and enjoying the park. We put in seating. People come and it's movable, so we don't offend the guys mowing the lawn. They can throw in the bushes, which they do, and we put it back. They can mow it. So we've tried to be very respectful of the park district's current maintenance program, but our goal was to naturalize it so they wouldn't need to mow it anymore, and it could still be, a useful green space. So that's where it stands. We did think we had an auxiliary issue of there's a home on Wheeling Road that, was, it's in the city notes that, they were looking to, or they are attempting to have it purchased because it has flooded. It's always flooded. It's flooded for 40 years. So they've put in an application to have the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District purchase this home, and then the land would become part of Tully Park and owned by the Park District. We were worried that this was somehow connected to the soccer, the proposal to put in this mini soccer park. I spoke with the owner of the property today. She said, don't even worry about that. You can worry about it in 2 years. The process was just started. It's been going on for about a year, and in March they finally had a meeting with the Reclamation District, and they said, well, we have your application. It'll be about 2 years before we do anything about it. So she wanted us to be aware that it is not something that has anything to do with the soccer field, and it's not anything to worry about, for a couple of years.
Okay.
Anything to add, Mary Ellen?
I think you covered that well. And our goal is really to bring a lot of people to the June 22nd Park District meeting. And I just talked to Matt, my neighbor, Matt Plischke, who said he's going to have a beer party at around 5 o'clock on Tuesday, the 22nd, and on the condition that everybody comes with him to the Park District meeting. So we can have just a good turnout. And the last time we fought to keep this park from the church, Christina was really a great advocate for that. And we just feel like there's such a turnaround. And one of the reasons, too, maybe why some of us are here is if you had any suggestions for us when we're at the meeting on the 22nd. We do have questions. We want to, I think it's important to say that we understand that the intention, is a admirable intention, but it just does not work for our neighborhood. This little landlocked park is not appropriate to bring 300 people in to play soccer. But does anybody have any? Well,
I think, I think, we, as the, our group, this caught us just completely unaware. Again, this is a sort of a tertiary project for us. You guys volunteered with us. We've supported you in Tully Park. We do provide maintenance, plants, burning, all kinds of stuff. Inherently, we're linked together. What was kind of rough is the fact that no one even bothered to ask us an opinion about what would be the effects of doing something like this. There was just no dialogue, and then we're presented with the fact that the way I read it, it was a fait accompli. It was a done deal, and this was going to happen. Certainly, in my wildest dreams, I could not imagine that anyone would want to put this kind of a recreation facility in the middle of a natural area that is very small, completely landlocked, totally ringed by residences who've lived there for years, with such potential impact for changing the entire neighborhood and the lives of all the people that live around it. It's just, it's really hard to believe after 4 years of working to reclaim the area and naturalize it, and then to continue to push it as a connective green space with ecological biodiversity that becomes part of the corridor plan to link the green spaces of Prospect Heights. And then something like this happens. I think I could probably speak for all of us. We're just equally as dumbfounded as to why this would be a good idea. That said, we have to work with everyone, and So we need to, sort of sit back and see what happens here and support this in every way possible. But, whatever assistance we can be, we certainly will do that.
Thank you so much, and we really appreciate the support of the NRC. And we know it's our fight, but all the support that we can get is great. And we really want to try to understand what the reason is behind it. It's so odd. And it really would be majorly disruptive. And you guys being caught unaware, we've got an alder. I have to imagine that this went to the city council. I would think. I don't know that for sure, but we never heard anything from our alderman. Pardon me, John?
The Park District acts separately from the city council, so those decisions necessarily were probably made in the Park District, and the city might not be aware of it. I don't know, but that's possible.
It hasn't been mentioned so far at their meetings.
I would think it requires some type of zoning change, which it probably doesn't. It's probably zoned recreational, but that's certainly something worth looking into. But yeah, short of that, I agree with John. It's highly unlikely that the city has any immediate jurisdiction on it, and it is a Park District issue.
Is it accurate to say that I have a few questions. The people in the community across the street and the church are both in Mount Prospect?
Correct. They are in Mount Prospect, and that is River Trails Park District. So
it's actually a different community and park district that's going to be using our, and when I say our, I mean Prospect Heights Park.
Correct. We brought that up to the director, and she said it's a public park. Anybody can use a public park.
And then can I ask, that brings up another question. I saw, I'm not sure what is, I'm not sure of the facts. I heard that the church would have use of the park for a certain number of days per week. Is that accurate?
That is what the director is recommending. That's what she recommended to the board when she presented it to the board, that the church would have use of the facility 4 days a week, and the Prospect Heights Park District would have use of it 3 days a week.
So let me just be careful in my wording here, but to make sure I understand, the church would have exclusive use for 4 days. Is that correct?
Of the soccer facility, of the soccer field. I believe she did not mean to include the entire park, except if you've ever been to a soccer game, it's the entire park. So yeah, they would have
the point is that, if I'm understanding you correctly, that a private institution and a religious institution would have exclusive use to public property.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be quite surprised if that's legal. I don't know. I would agree. It's curious. I mean, it's a public space, and they're giving away exclusive use.
Yes.
Kind of interesting.
Well, I don't know if this impacts that, but the agreement is so the Bridge Church will donate this mini soccer thing to the Park District, so the Park District will own it and will maintain it. But yes, the Bridge Church will have exclusive use 4 days a week.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if a public entity and a religious entity can have exclusive use of a public space.
Not to mention put up advertising. That would be kind of counterintuitive to my thought also.
I know, and they want advertisements around the boards of this, the exterior of the field. And I'm like, there's no traffic. It's landlocked. Who's even going to see these signs?
Well, the players.
How expensive to have that in that park.
Well, I think these are all really good, valid points, and I'm sure there's a good argument on the other side, but we all have to sit down and listen to it and see how this.
I'll certainly attend that meeting on the 22nd. I hope as many commissioners as possible will come as well. It's just amazing that being proposed, and I can't, wait to understand the rationale behind it all, so.
Thank you.
One of the points that or several points that we hope to make is pretty much the entire park board they're different people than in 2015. They don't really know the history of Tully Park. I plan to ask the question to them all. How many of you have ever been to Tully Park? I would bet none of them. How many of you have ever been to Tully Park after it rains? Because pretty much most of Tully Park, you're up to your calf in water. And how many of you ever engaged with any of the people that live in the community around Tully Park? So that is kind of the approach that I was thinking of taking. It's part of their mission statement that's how they operate. I don't believe that most of the park board members are fairly new. They just were, advised by the park director that, we should take this donation. It's $120,000 worth of soccer stuff. Let's take it.
For the benefit of some of the board members, have you seen the proposed structure?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was given a copy of that, so, I can't believe that someone would think that would work in a naturalized area.
Well, and unfortunately, years of, hard work and planting and maintaining that, and I'm sure there'd be a very large risk of a lot of that getting trampled and ruined.
They countered that with saying it is a fully contained facility, so the ball won't go out, which is baloney if you've ever watched little kids play soccer. The ball won't go out of the facility, so nobody's going to trample it, except what about all these, 300 people that are going to be there? And we have a lot of questions to pose to them about this. So yes, I agree. Hopefully they have some answers that make sense.
Also a concern, there was some talk about lights down the road, and that certainly is a concern for the homes that are immediately around it, which Dee is, who's on the call here, her houses, our houses, and two other residents. Hi, Dee. Hi, Dee.
Well, the actual structure has lights already. It includes lights, and it includes lights at each corner. LED lights, the most unpleasant lights ever.
The 7 days a week, 4 days you said are used by the church, and I assume the participants would park in the church parking lot. The other 3 days when the public at large uses it, where is the public at large parking?
Where's actually, quite honestly, where's anyone's parking? Because if they park at the church, they have to still get around the big, poorly maintained detention basin, and the only way to do that is to trespass on people's land on either side of that basin. You can't jump across it. I saw a 4-foot snake in it the other day. I wouldn't walk in it.
Yeah,
So.
And I hear what you're saying about those 4 days they'd have to cross over, but in the other 3 days, where would people park?
I asked that question to the park director, and I've gotten no answer. And that is one of the questions we plan to bring up at the meeting as well.
Sounds
right
like
now, it's really accessed by foot.
Mm-hmm.
so that could bring up a number of Americans with this ADA, Americans with Disability Act concerns as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy, is the structure once erected permanent, or do
No.
they remove it after they use it?
Well, no, you would not move it after each use. It's guaranteed for 10 years. It does not have any kind of a foundation into the ground. It's set on top of the ground. But again, it is basically an impervious surface. It would be very difficult to move it once it was installed.
And how much of the park land does it take up? What's left for other residents to use as a park, as a dog run?
Well, per the letter from the park director, plenty. However, we superimposed it about, it takes up about a tenth of an acre. There's a little bit less than a half an acre that's open space right now because we've expanded our plantings and planned to expand them more. So it would be maybe 4/10 of an acre, probably less. And that's open space that would be left around the actual structure.
Right.
If the park district follows through with the recommendations that are in the letter that director provided to the board, they would then be installing bleachers, bike racks, restrooms, garbage cans, which would effectively take away most of that open space.
I think it's even less than that, Wendy, because the 1.5 acres includes all of the vegetation. And when Rod did he did kind of a Google Earth map and outlined the park part of it. The actual open space, I don't know, maybe that wasn't right, but it came in under a half an acre.
Yeah.
Is it possible that we'd have an acre of vegetation totally surrounding the park? Is that possible?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sure. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. The whole back toward the Wolf's old house, that's all, that's all vegetation, and then back toward Dee's and into that corner, yeah, definitely.
Maybe half an acre, yeah. And I think the neighborhood community has been using it sort of as a dog run, dog park too.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes, and we've got a group of people, a family, a Mexican family that's just across the bridge. They come out on Sunday afternoons and they do play soccer. They're out in the open field and everybody loves that. Like, it's totally fine for kids to play soccer or do whatever. Just chalk out a field and put goalposts. Don't build a structure. People, wiffle ball golf, we play frisbee out there, softball. All that is going to be eliminated if this structure is here.
And I guess.
And so many people come and look at the flowers, look at the plantings. Everybody knows what's been done there. It just warms my heart when I see people out there, just walking through it and looking.
Yeah, from a concern of the residents surrounding it also is it's going to impede drainage. They're either going, if they think that Tully Park is flat, they got another thing coming. So if they want to lay some field out there, they're going to have to do some kind of grading. How they're going to do that, I don't know. How are they going to get the equipment in there? And that's going to mess with the drainage. And Seth, you were saying that even restricting the no ADA compliance and whatnot, but in order to make sure that there's drainage and that it's flat, in my opinion, that's going to require a building permit. You don't just go, grading the land and doing something like that without some kind of a building permit. The city would have to be involved. Oh, sorry, Dee, go ahead.
Oh, no, I don't, I'm not a legal, minded person, but there is that, the, Protect Our Parks, Jackson Park Group that was, in court with the Chicago Park District in the city of Chicago because of the Obama Foundation taking over public space. They had thought that they had it rubber stamped and they were moving along and they were tearing down trees. And there is a law of some sort, and this falls into that exclusivity, the 4 days that the bridge would be able to use the part where this would actually cause injury to the people around it. I don't know if this is a case that we can make in regards to, stopping the structure, because it is going to cause the neighboring homes injury. there's no doubt about that. I don't know, about, homeowners insurance. I don't know if having a structure and having an influx of people and lights and such like that, is going to affect our insurance. Do we have to bulk up? Are we going to have to put structures, fences around our property in order to protect the people that are coming into this public park? So I don't know if that is, an argument that we could bring up. I don't know if it's valid, and I'd hate to, sound ignorant about it, but I mean, it's a valid, concern.
Well, thank you, Dee. Wendy, Mary Ellen, and Dee, thank you very much. If you have anything else to add, we appreciate your participating in today's meeting and making us aware of this.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on.
Okay. All right, let's move on to new business. Prospect Heights Public Library opening event, I think we covered that.
Yeah, Jill, did you have anything new to add to that?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay, block party of August 28th.
Yes, in the notes that I sent from a April 27th meeting with the Park District, they had mentioned if the state moves to Phase 5, which I understand will be tomorrow, there's a good possibility they will have the Prospect Heights Park District Block Party Saturday, August 28th. So I'm looking for more information on that, but if they do, it would be great if we could participate as we have done in previous years.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else have a comment about that? No?
No, I certainly welcome it.
Yeah, missed it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay, let's move on to path maintenance at the work sites. So, I believe the only path that hasn't been maintained was at Heron Pond. And so the interns were there this afternoon to clean that up. I don't know how far they got. But so far so good. So around the slough and.
Yeah, big shout out to Seth. Seth took the initiative to work with Colin.
Yeah, Seth, thank you.
When Blair hadn't started yet. So he had 3 days with him and they worked on the paths, and Seth went over string trimming and all the things that go into that. So greatly appreciated. Mm-hmm. It's really rough being handicapped. I don't envy anyone else having to do this. But thank you, Seth. I was really appreciated.
The seed greenhouse program. So we have over 20,000 plants. They're dry all the time since we're in a severe drought right now. They need to be watered every day or twice a day. Twice a day sometimes. We had Poplar Creek the other day to transplant their plants. They're doing well. They took away some of their plants as well. And Jill, thank you also for coming by on your Sundays off to come help me fill soil and transplant plants and get it moving along. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
So we're good. Everybody's alive. So it's just been really dry. I wish we had rain. I worry about everything out there right now. It's just it really needs we need some rain. So anything else to add about the greenhouse program? No. Okay. No. Commissioner site monitoring reports.
I've received the majority. I don't think I received one from you, Seth, for the Remnant Prairie, but we all received copies. If anyone has any comments on what was provided.
I do very quickly. I did not submit a report yet, but I did do an inspection there. And my site is St. Al's, and that's pretty straightforward. I mean, first of all, it looks good. The report is all is good. It's just new growth, and that's the retention area for their parking lot, and really nothing else to report.
Okay, thank you.
we did actually visit Tully Park today. And since Wendy, you're still here, you have a little bit of thistle over there, so we can swing by next week and help out with that.
Yeah, my plan was, in past years, I go over either in a rainstorm or right after a rainstorm, and I can pull it all out really fast. So as you can imagine, I listen to the weatherman, and I hope it's gonna happen. So, I mean, that'd be great. My fear is I've tried to pull it when it's dry, and it's not, I'm leaving the roots in the ground, and
Right.
So, I mean, I do plan to get that done if it was just rain.
It was just great. Well, we'll try to head out, and I'll email you and text you.
Okay, that'd be great.
In terms of the remnant prairie, which I reported on last time, I mentioned about, it'd be good to sort of hit it soon. And there was some question of maybe getting out there, maybe even a work day or something. I'm not sure what. What's the latest on getting out to the remnant prairie?
So we really don't want to have our volunteers apply herbicide, like as a work day, like 30 volunteers with herbicide. Like, it's just not possible because we need to have licenses and everything. And the weather's been very hot, and the herbicide used that needs to get those woody stumps needs to be under 80 degrees. So we've been trying for the past couple of weeks, but it hasn't. Like, even today, we were going after poison ivy at Isaac Walton because some resident concerns, and we couldn't get out there. Like, they did for 10 minutes, and they had to stop because we don't want, any negative side effects. We don't want the herbicide to volatilize and all this stuff. So we really need to have the perfect conditions for that, and next week looks like it might be. So I'm hoping to get out there with the interns maybe on Wednesday morning before it gets warm, for just a couple hours, and we put on 3 packs and we finish it off. So that's the plan for that. But I think we just, volunteers, we just want to stay away from the.
Do you have a report for us on the slough, Agnes?
Just a verbal. The slough looks great. It's really dry. I worry about the frogs and the turtles. The reed canary, I can't even believe it. It's just really everywhere. They have been working so hard to get it eliminated. We're not even on to cattails yet. It's just been so dry too. I don't know. It's like one year we worry about flooding, the next year we worry about drought. It's been crazy.
And one quick question. I've noticed exercising around there that there's a lot of carp still in the South Slough. Is that just what was introduced from downstream? No, upstream.
Upstream.
And we don't think anything breached the guards.
I wonder if we trapped some in there when we put up the fences. They already passed through, and then we fenced them in.
It's possible, but the amount
We got a lot this year.
There's a lot. I really do believe that they came in from upstream. And I spoke to Mark Roscoe, who had been in other sites, they were looking at the creeks that also flow into the slough, and he had noted many, many adult carp, just like in 5 inches of water, swimming around in all those little creeks and channels. So I really do believe that they came from upstream, and now they're stuck in the slough, basically. So it would be, I think that we should try to go do both sides next year.
It'd be nice if there was kind of a one-way chute where it would let them through in one direction, but keep them out coming the other way. And I don't know if that even exists, but that could be a potential remedy.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for you, Ed.
Contraption.
Well, it almost seems like you just walk out there and pick them up. I thought of that, but my fear is getting stuck in the muck.
I know. Should have like a carp.
Get a drone with a hook on it.
Oh yeah, no, it was really devastating to see that, because last year was so successful with our carp exposures. It was so wonderful. All the vegetation around the slough was like just beautiful and flourishing and stabilizing the shoreline, and it was great. And then this year, you go out there and there's like 100 carp, and it's just so yeah, that was.
I just want to add something to the conversation here too. Last meeting, there was, I guess, a couple of reports of dead turtles in the lake or the slough, and And, you know, I hadn't seen any, until like about a week after that meeting. Then there was a gigantic dead turtle in the lake. And I'm not sure what the cause of death was. Usually when I see a dead turtle, it's been hit by a car. This guy or gal was just dead. I mean, so, you know, I'm not sure. I rarely see a dead turtle, and then that came up. So I guess there were maybe a few of them this year, and I'm not sure why. To add to that, though, this year, maybe it's drought related or something, but I've never seen more turtles laying eggs now than ever. I mean,
Yeah.
every day I see a turtle, at least one turtle, maybe more, laying eggs out there, more so than any years in the past. So it's an interesting phenomenon going on.
Yeah, we see it too.
Yeah, absolutely. They're crossing the roads. They're just everywhere. Every morning, every afternoon, evening. It's unbelievable.
Is there any?
Sorry, Ed.
Is there any chance that turtles feed on Elodium? I'm just wondering.
Hard to.
Yeah.
So maybe keeping them in the lake is a good idea. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer for those things. What might be really interesting to ask our next speaker, one of our next speakers that's coming up, Allison.
Yeah,
Decorative.
Allison.
Yeah, that would be an interesting question to ask her. But yeah, I've noticed it too.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Hey, I sent a copy to everybody. Did everybody get that?
No.
Didn't?
When did you send it, John?
Yesterday?
I don't think I'll double check. I don't know if I got it.
It came with my
Oh.
report.
Okay, that I got. Never
It
mind.
was attached to that.
Thank you.
Anyway, so there's three sections that Peter Falcone provided the numbers that the city's working on, and that's basically what I'm reporting here. Our net operating budget for the PHNRC is $14,261 for the year. We've spent some of that already. As of the printing of the budget, it was down to $13,621.90 still left to spend, although we've spent some of that already, right, with more soil. Is that correct, guys? Yeah. So that's not reported on there. So anyway, we're looking good. That'll markedly go down once the interns start receiving regular paychecks. Pollinator Park is listed as a separate budget item. We have it started off as an $8,000 budget, and we still have $5,500 to work with. And then another separate part listed that's provided by the city is the 2021 Riverwalk revenue. And I didn't know what they were referring to, but this is actually referring to the Slough Boardwalk project. So it's listed as a revenue item, but we don't really have this money yet. So that's something still in our dreams, and hopefully it'll come to fruition at the next meeting. But we'll see. They listed it at $8,000, and that's why I was asking Dana. It's more like 12. Is that correct?
I thought it was 8. We got it done.
I'll double check that out. I'll
Okay.
send everybody the documents when
Tonight.
yeah.
Yeah, tonight.
No problem. So that's it.
Can I ask for the Pollinator Park 5,000, it was at 8, went down to 5. What's the use of the other 5? And
We still have signage. We're supposed to provide benches, shrubs,
And then all the stuff for the
and
plants
garbage cans.
and garbage cans. But also part of that, we have to look at the list, but part of that was also for like soil, plants, gloves, things like that. So we can use that money this year for, let's say, another shipment of soil and trays and gloves for volunteers.
Mm-hmm. I'll resend the entire packet to everybody.
To everybody for
when we're done.
voting, so that,
Yeah.
tonight, so you guys can all look at it. Okay.
Maybe there'll be some leftover for some coconut rolls.
Well, we already.
Agnes discussed already, but we'll see.
Kidding.
Nice, yeah, I know. All right, next is the return to conducting meetings in city council chambers.
Yes, at the last meeting with the city council, they may be returning sometime in July to hybrid meetings. So they'll be meeting in person in City Hall chambers, but also have the Zoom link, which I think is a very wise decision. Someone mentioned that not many residents attend in person, but by attending by Zoom, there's more flexibility. So perhaps we could consider that too. I did want to ask Patrick for his opinion, if it makes a world of difference for him if we return to in person.
It doesn't make a difference to me. It would be better and a little bit easier, but I'll work whatever you guys decide to do. If you just want to come as yourself and do residence at Zoom, or you could come in person. You know, not too many people attend your meetings, so you might, not want to offer the Zoom, but I'm open to whatever you guys suggest or whatever the direction the city wants me to go in.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Peter. That's great.
Patrick.
Or
It was
Patrick.
Patrick.
Time for bed.
One day. Okay, so what do you guys all think?
Well, I think we should wait to see what the city decides and then perhaps follow their example. But I appreciate Patrick's flexibility and his input.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, announcements to the public.
Well, I wanted to talk about the 4th of July parade.
Mm-hmm.
So at the last city council meeting, they talked about the Independence Day parade on Saturday, July 3rd. They're saying right now strictly motorized, no walking, and a possible kiosk at the end of the parade. They were still discussing the parade route. They would start in the St. Al's parking lot, but there was discussion to cover all the neighborhood as they did with the holiday parade because residents really enjoyed it. And we've all had the lockdown, and it would be great for people to see the parade. And if it's motorized, I think that's doable. But on that vein, I've already checked with fast signs because if we have enough cars, and I investigated doing magnets with our scenes from our restoration work, definitely our website, so we could be using our vehicles as a method of advertising who we are. And then if we have a kiosk set up at the end of the parade, we could be handing out plants, we could be handing out stickers. Once again, an opportunity to connect with the community. But again, I'll attend the city council meeting this Monday, June 14th, and see what they have to say about the parade and what the structure may be. So would you guys be interested in participating in the parade?
Yeah, I mean, we've already told the city way back when that we would be participating.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great ideas, Jill. Thank you.
Visitor comments.
We've had them.
Okay. I motion we adjourn then.
Flora agrees.
Flora agrees. Okay,
Flora,
all in
second the
favor?
motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone.
Hey.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you.
guys.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.